What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, IFBB Pro Metallic. It is, guys. These are your best to worst ranked glute exercises in my tier list. Now, here's how it works, guys. When I go to the gym, I have my schedule, what I'm planning to do, what's on my training plan, my go-tos. If I get to that gym and then I have the machine that I need, then I'm gonna go to my option 2, then option 3, and then it's down to like, this is all they got. And then last but not least, meh, I'd be taking a rest day. How do we rank the exercises? What is the parameters here? Now, number 1. It has to have the full range of motion that results in the most amount of muscle recruitment. It's gonna give you the best opportunity to build muscle, not just the lengthening of the exercise or the shortening. We're talking all the way up, all the way down. Now, number 2, you have to be able to progressive overload it. So basically, after you've exhausted adding more reps, you can add weight, and adding that weight is gonna help you progress. And last but not least, it has to be easy to do, relatively easy to do. What do I mean by that? It means that you should be able to do your basic fundamentals of technique for that exercise, for said exercise. If you have to zigzag your way into said exercise just to perform it, then no, it's gonna get dropped down to meh. All right, so let's get it started. First up, we got cable kickbacks. Now, I'm going to say that whoever are in these pictures are doing the actual exercise right. Because if I was gonna rank this based on how I see people do cable kickbacks, I throw this thing right down into like meh, like rest day, right? The pulsing thing that I see people do where they got their legs sticking out and where's my boy at? Ken, get over here. Ken's back. If I see people doing cable kickbacks and they're like this and they're just like, they're doing these things, no. This isn't doing it. This needs to go in like this and then out like this. Literally, all the way in, right? We have some flexion at the knee, flexion at the hip, and then we have extension. And then while it's coming out, we're actually kicking on an angle out to hit that glute med. So I'm assuming they're doing it like that. So if you are doing like that, okay, 4 range of motion, great. It's getting good muscle recruitment for the entire range. Now, progressive overload. Can we progressive overload doing this exercise? That's gonna be our limitation. The heavier we go with that, it's gonna be a limit because we're on the cables, and depending if you're standing or you're kneeling on a bench, that's gonna be a problem in the end. You're not gonna be able to progressive overload as good as you can do, say like a machine or doing squats. And then when it comes to doing the movement properly, can anyone do it after you're basically learning it? Well, if I would believe that, then I would be making that example in the beginning with Ken. Most of the time when I see people do this exercise, they're doing it wrong. So I have to put this as that's all they got. It's gonna be that's all they got. All right, we got reverse hack squat, right? If you see a lot of people do the reverse hack squat machine, I'm pretty sure Hammer Strength has one. It's basically loading into the machine, walking in, and then doing reverse hacks. Is that gonna give you good activation in the glutes? 100%. Yes, it will. All the way up and all the way down. You're walking into it front loaded. The stimulus to fatigue ratio will be very low because you're in a machine. And then let's go to the next. Can you progressive overload it? Of course you can. It's a machine. You put on weights. After you're done adding reps, put on weights easily. You can go up. Now, can anyone do it? Yes. You're basically doing yes, of course you can. It's fairly simple to get in and actually do. Your basic fundamentals of form for that exercise is simple. But where do I put it in terms of, if I'm going to the gym, it's gonna be a guarantee for me? No, but it's definitely a good exercise I'm gonna put into a option 3. Trust me, guys, if you're in option 1, 2, and 3, those are good. All right, barbell squats. It's going option 1. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna waste my time. Here's the reason why I'm not wasting our time in this. Number 1, full range of motion, 100%. All the way down and all the way up, you're getting full range of glutes all day. Yes, the quads are helping with the exercise, but when it comes down to loading this, the glutes are the primary for this movement. Now, when it comes to progressive overload, of course you can. You add weight after you've added reps. Now it comes to, you easily do it? You necessarily can't easily do it, but when it comes to this exercise, it's a movement that we should all be able to do because it's a squat. You should be able to squat. So that's why this bad boy is going right to the top. Am I going to do back squats? Oh man, shoot, my bad, guys. I would move this guy actually to 2. I'm gonna keep that in 2. I'm not even edit that out. The reason why I'm putting it into 2 is because when it comes to loading your spine, I would say back squats are like barbell bench press for glutes. You don't need to load your spine with a barbell to get a good glute activation or to squat. There's other ways we can squat that will do the exact same thing and get just as good results. Planning your workouts effectively can make a huge difference. One thing that really enhanced my planning is using Lumen, the world's first handheld metabolic coach. By measuring my metabolism through my breath, Lumen shows me if I'm burning fats or carbs, which is crucial for tailoring my nutrition and workouts. Before I train, I check my carb levels, and after, I ensure I'm refueling the right way to support muscle growth and fat burn. If you're looking to up your fitness game, go to lumen.me/Johnny or click the link below for 15% off your Lumen. It's a total game changer. All right, so we have hip thrusts from the floor, glute bridge, the same thing. Doing them from the floor, doing them from the machine. I'm gonna show you the difference between both. Number one, I started doing hip thrusts from the floor, and I was doing that to help with my explosiveness of my deadlifts. That's how I learned to do them. Now, are they good for glutes? Are the glutes working? Well, the glutes are getting to that full extension at the top. The unfortunate part about it is when you're doing from the floor, guess what gets in the way? The floor. Damn it, that floor is getting in the way. Somebody made a comment and made me laugh. That floor always getting in the way. It is, right? So at the bottom of this exercise, when we want the lengthened part to get just as much love as the shortened part, the lengthened part is sitting down relaxed. So when it comes down to this being a good exercise for glutes, you're getting glute activation, but like in terms of like a glute builder, like if you're a dude that wants nice glutes, trust me, women love men with a nice butt. And guess what? Men love women with a nice butt. So we both want a nice butt. So if we want to develop a nice butt, glutes, whatever you want to call it, unfortunately, this exercise is going to be one of those like, this is all they got. Because it's definitely not a meh. Now we have hip thrusts from the bench. You're like, oh, that's gonna be better because now there's a stretch at the bottom. Unfortunately, you're not stretching anything at the bottom. In order for the glutes to be stretched at the bottom, gravity, the glutes are being worked at the top. We're in full extension. On the way down, right, now we're on the ground, can't really work that much. All right, well, let's make it better. Let's get on a bench. All right, Ken's now on the bench. He's got the bar sitting on his hips, and he goes all the way down. Like this. Is there a stretch happening at the bottom of this? There's not. There's not, because the glutes don't stretch that way. The glutes have a better stretch when they're being vertically loaded. Can you progressive overload? Yes, you can. Are you getting a 4 range of motion? Not as much. So this exercise is going to be a down here with a this is all they got. The reason why this is all they got exercise for me is because it's still effective. It still has some merit in terms of like, because of these exercises like these, you can load the heck out of them. So you could kind of make up ground with adding more weight. All right, goblet squats. Whoa, what up? Goblet squats, great exercise. Absolutely great exercise. Good exercise for beginners. When it comes to 4 range of motion, are we getting the full range? Of course we are. From bottom to top to bottom, it's a squat. It's basically a squat exercise. It's a goblet squat. Now when it comes to progressive overload, that's when we come into a little bit of issue, right? The limiting factor for goblet squats is going to be the weight that you're using. Even if we're progressive overloading from a standpoint, right? We're starting off, this is one of my go-to exercises for beginners that are learning how to squat, to put them in a great position in terms of their back being in a neutral position and a healthy spine basically, and be able to go through the full range of motion. Love this exercise. And then when you progress with that, you find yourself getting stronger torso again, but your glutes are getting stronger and you're getting more stable. But eventually you're gonna get to a place where you need to load up a little more. Eventually it's going to get too hard for you to hold. So the limiting factor will be the progressive overload in terms of this exercise. This is a good exercise to do, but that limiting factor being that, it's gonna be a 3 for me. Now, when it comes to the vertical press, I used to absolutely adore the vertical press. And I think because of the nuance of the machine itself and it not being in a lot of gyms, and then when you got it, it was just really fun to do. Now, when it comes to that, it's gonna do more for my hamstrings and my glutes. Why? Because guess what? We're not getting extension at the top of this exercise. So when it comes down to full range of motion, we're not getting the full range. We're literally doing a leg press upside down. And our glutes aren't getting as much as they could from other exercises. So when it comes to this exercise, you know, full range of motion, don't get it. Progressive overload, 100%, but unfortunately, doesn't matter how much weight you put on, there's gonna be a limit to what your glutes are actually doing during the actual exercise. And then can anyone do it? Of course anyone can do it. You're just sitting there laying upside down doing a leg press. Unfortunately, this guy's gonna be down here with this is all they got. All right, now we have the reverse hypers for glutes. How's this exercise? Is it good? Does it give us a full range of motion? It sure does. But again, with this one, at the bottom, you're almost at a rested state. So this exercise gets progressively harder when you're actually doing the shortened part of the lift. When your body's in this position and you got weight here, it's not doing anything. So if we want the glutes to get that stretch, the glutes need to be stretched by being in that flexed position. When we're in a flexed position in our hips, that's when our glutes are being stretched. When we're in extension, that's when they're being shortened. Just unfortunately, nothing's happening. You know, I would say doing this exercise would be like when people do just those kind of like partials when it comes to doing like cable kickbacks. So full range of motion, we're not getting the fullness out of it. Progressive overload, you definitely can, but unfortunately, the heavier it gets, it's gonna be even harder for you to get it, the full range at the top. It gets extremely hard at the top of this exercise and relatively super easy at the bottom. So where this exercise go is gonna be down here in this is all they got. All right, we have the actual hip thrust machine. It's going over here, guys. Same thing as everything else. It's the same thing. It's going as a this is all they got. It's a good exercise, but it's a this is all they got exercise. RDLs, stiff leg deadlifts. It's the same thing. Okay, we don't have to argue this at all, guys. A Romanian deadlift and a stiff leg deadlift are the exact same thing. Now RDLs, full range of motion, 100%. You're doing exactly what the glutes are intended to do. RDLs, absolutely amazing. Can you progressive overload? Oh, 100%. Is it fairly easy to do? 100%. This is a go-to. All right, single leg Romanian deadlifts. Single leg Romanian deadlifts, unfortunately, just ain't it. We're getting the full range of motion, 100%. Can we progressive overload? Yes, we can. But guess what? We're balancing on one foot. Is there any benefit to doing a one-leg RDL? There is zero benefit to doing a one-legged RDL. Now, doing a B stance or a staggered RDL when one foot's on the ground, yeah, for sure. That makes sense. But to like have one leg in the air and make it and create a bouncing act for absolutely no reason and you're trying to train your glutes, right? As for me, it's one of those like, this is all they got things. It is. Now we have the adductor machines. Ooh, the abductor machines going out. Abduct means going out. Think about like subtraction, right? Subtract, abduct. We're going out. We're taking away. Do we get the full range of motion? Well, guess what, guys? When we're literally like this, the glutes are doing squat all. The glutes only start working when we come all the way out. And for the most part, most people can't get that far out. So the full range of motion is very, very limited. Can you progressive overload? Of course you can. It's a pin loaded machine. You do the pins, great. And then can anyone do it? Of course they can. It's you're getting in there and just open your legs and closing them. But are we getting the fullness out? Is this exercise like a go-to? It's not. So this is going to be in one of those, this is all they got. All right, front foot elevated reverse lunge. Unbelievable exercise. Unbelievable. That is a glute blaster, a glute absolute dominator. 100%. Can you go through the full range of motion and get great activation? Top to bottom, bottom to top, 100%. Can you progressive overload? 100%. You just add weight. After you've added your reps and you've got your peak reps and you've got to the max rep range for the sets you're doing, we can add some weight and we can progressive overload. And guess what? Anyone can do this exercise. Fairly easy to learn. So that's gonna be up there as a go-to. All right, we have the good mornings. Good mornings is basically a Romanian deadlift with a bar on your back. Now again, if you could with a safety bar, makes that much better. For, full range of motion, 100%, your glutes are getting it. You're putting the weight there. It's a little harder when your weight's loaded that way. Because of progressive overload, that's when the limiting factor starts to happen. The heavier you go there, your limiting factor is going to be your back. Even if you're doing these sitting on a bench or like you're doing it right here, or even if you're using a safety bar, the heavier you go, the more it's gonna throw your body off in terms of like your upper body. This being a good exercise is gonna be one of those like option 3 exercises. And again, when it comes down to it, guys, like you don't need to load up the bar as crazy as possible anyway. So just check your ego, get a weight that's gonna exhaust the glutes, go through the proper range of motion with good technique. Dumbbell RDLs. Are we putting this at the top? 100%. Why? Because it's just like doing Romanian deadlifts with the bar, but you can get a better range of motion with the dumbbells. And we can progressive overload. And the limiting factor in here would be your grip. Use straps. And it's fairly easy to do. So this guy's going to the top. All right, sumo squats. Where are sumo squats going? Sumo squats are, all right, so let's talk about full range of motion. Sumo squats, guess what happens? The floor gets in the way. So when you want to get the max amount of stretch at the bottom, we're getting full extension for sure, but maximum stretch at the bottom, guess what? The bars get, the plates get in the way, the floor gets in the way. Can you progressive overload? Of course you can, but again, the floor is getting in the way. So as much as you're getting adductors and glutes in there, like mostly glutes, the limiting factor is the ground. Can anyone do it? It's a very technical exercise to do. So when it comes to, you know, working glutes, it's gonna be, for me, it's gonna be a meh. I mean, it's gonna be this is all they got. All right, pendulum squat. All the way to the top, I'm not gonna waste my time. Why? Guys, it's probably one of the best exercises for glutes, right? When it comes down to it, you're getting full range of motion because of the pendulum force vector, or I would say just like the line of pull, or just the constant tension. When you're doing squats, anything we're doing kind of vertical, it gets harder when we get down, and then it gets easier as we go back up vertically. So that exercise is going to be at the top. Full range of motion, 100%. Can you progressive overload? 100%. And yes, it's fairly easy to do when it comes to your basic technique. All right, we got walking lunges for glutes. Let me tell you this right now. For me, when I do walking lunges, my butt kills. All right, walking lunges. Now, when it comes down to full range of motion, and you're doing them properly, good knee flexion, hips are going, going heel toe, good knee flexion, hip flexion, extension. Absolutely amazing. Full range of motion. Progressive overload, 100%. You just add more dumbbells. You add more weight to your dumbbells, and if your limiting factor is your grip, use some straps. I feel my glutes the most when I do front foot elevated reverse lunge and walking lunges. Most lunge exercises are gonna tear the heck out of your glutes. So this guy is going to be one of my go-tos. All right, now we have the good old belt squat. Belt squat is amazing. Where the sumo deadlifts fall short, the belt squat makes up ground. Full range of motion. Absolutely full range of motion. We're getting all the way up, all the way down. Progressive overload, 100%. And then when it comes down to it, when it comes to just like everyone can do it, of course, and we don't have to load our spine for our glutes to get a lot of work. So when it comes down to it, this guy's gonna be at the top. Leg press. I put leg press in here because it is an exercise that I see a lot of people trying to maneuver and change so we can hit glutes. If I put my feet a little higher, I'm gonna hit some glutes. If I put my feet a little wider, I can hit my adductors. You're not getting full hip extension. For this exercise to be really good for glutes, it's when it can go to the full extension. And unfortunately, even at the bottom, we're trying to load this. Your glutes are getting loaded really well at the bottom of this, 100%. But again, when it comes to the full range, we're not getting it. So when it comes to glutes, guys, use the glute exercise for glute exercises. Let the leg press be a good exercise for quads like it is. So this exercise for me is gonna be like this is all they, not even this is all they got. It's gonna be like a meh. I'm not doing leg press for my glutes, period. Hack squat, your regular hack squat. Are they good for glutes? Yes, because you're getting the full range of motion. So we're getting some really good activation from the full range of motion, all the way up and all the way down. Yeah, your quads are gonna work when we're doing squats. Great exercise for glutes. Full range of motion, can easily progressive overload it. And then again, can anyone do it? Of course, you just basically step in there. This guy here is going to the top. All right, step ups. Where are step ups in the whole family of lunging movements, lunge variations? Step ups are, they're alright. And the reason why they're alright is because guess what? When we do step ups, here's the problem we have when we have step ups, all right? Ken's gonna go from here and he's gonna step up, right? And most of the time when people do step ups, it goes like this, right? They were focused on more of the stepping up and then no control going back down. you know, front foot elevated reverse lunge makes up ground. So when we're doing step ups, unfortunately, on the way down, that's when people basically fall off. Stepping up, yeah, we're getting that shortened position, extending on the hip, but on the way down, we just have this kind of like drop at the bottom. And then when we're on the ground, basically the legs resting. So when it comes to this is gonna be one of those for me, it's gonna be a meh. Curtsy lunges, they're pretty good exercise. You know, crossing the foot over, we're gonna, you know, emphasize a little more of that stretch at the bottom and stretching the glutes by doing a little bit of the curtsy lunge. You know, the 4-range of motion is there for sure. You can progressive overload, just add some more weight, and it's fairly easy to do. But am I gonna put that as one of my go-to exercises? That for me is gonna be like this is kind of all they got. Smith machine squats, where's that gonna go? It's gonna go at the top. Why? Because where the barbell falls short, the Smith machine makes up ground. Why do I say that? Well, because whoa, Johnny, you're low in the spine. Here too. And for those people who for some reason hate on Smith machines for some reason, the same people who tell you that the Smith machine is for losers or for weak people is dumb, are the same ones that are saying that using straps is dumb too. Number one, it's a great exercise for glutes. Your squat, and you're safer in it as well too. I can really focus on the actual movement. I can get as deep as I can and get as, and get as tall as I can in that machine and not have to worry about the weight going back and forth, my back bending and all this other stuff. And when it comes to progressive overload, I can add weight on there and feel fairly comfortable doing the same thing as a squat, but being in a more controlled environment. And that's why the Smith machine squat for me is better than a back squat. That loading my spine with the free weight isn't that necessary for me to gain good glute activation and development. Anyway guys, here's my list. Now, if I forgot any exercise that you're curious about, let me know in the comment section below. I'll compile all those exercises and do another tier list and put them where I believe that they should go based on these parameters. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing.